The 2025 NASCAR Xfinity Series future odds have been released. Know what you need to hammer now and what lines to watch with our best bets for the championship and season win total markets. All this and more. It's the Backroad coming right at you.
It's a non-points race, but it is a short race. Checker flag. That's all this race does.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday night and welcome into the Backroad. It's In Between Media's Fantasy NASCAR betting show. Elliot Hicks and Seth Woolcock. It's going to be an exciting one tonight because it is Xfinity night here on the Backroad. We finally got some Xfinity odds that have dropped, so we're going to break all those down along with the news and notes, and we'll be drawing for our postseason giveaway box too at the end of the show, so stick around for that. Going to be a fun one, Seth.
Pleasure to be here tonight, Elliot. Maybe the most excited for a show I've been since the 2024 season ended. The Xfinity Series, extremely profitable for us last season and was an absolute pleasure to watch as well. I've been watching like a damn hawk for these future odds to drop. We got them earlier this week. Couldn't be better timing for us as well. So honestly, I'm really excited to dive into it here. Didn't love what we got for the first set of offerings, but still very fun to have something to work off. And I do think we found a generational future bet that we're going to share later in the show.
I couldn't agree more. And Seth, I know you were excited. Obviously, you were watching them like a hawk. Like you said, the message I get from you, holy shit, in all caps. 30 odds that dropped. Definitely an exciting time for that, too, as we approach the holidays. Lay down some coin, set ourselves up here, like you said, with generational future bets. Next week, too, we'll have another early show, just like we did Thanksgiving, early show for your holiday travels earlier in the week. So be on the lookout for that. But I'm ready to talk Xfinity, man. But before we talk about the championship contenders and the win stuff, a lot of the news lately has been on some of those mid-pack Xfinity rides finally getting filled for next year. Let's take a look in the rear view and break those down. Although none of the news bits from the last week or so are going to be championship winners, maybe not even race winners, they're still worthy of keeping half an eye on for the occasional top 10 bet or just for, the typical field filler stuff. So we want to give them the respect they deserve too. First off, Parker Retzlaff leaving Jordan Anderson Racing. Blaine Perkins took that spot. He'll go to Alpha Prime and he'll run the number 4, which was taken from JD Motorsports, which is closed. A little bit sad to see the end of JD. I mean, Pocono was the first race that we were at last year. They'd kind of had a falling out, they good memories with them, giving Chastain his break, as well as the 4 all painted red, flex seal, flex tape, all those cars. So end of an era there. But Parker Retzlaff, a guy who showed a little bit of promise, not only in Xfinity, but in the Cup Series last year.
Yeah, this is a kid, cut his teeth back in Wisconsin for the junior sprint cars, scrappy driver, specifically on the super speedways like we saw at Daytona in the Cup Series last year and in the early season Xfinity races as well, and even on pit road a little bit. This kid's not going to back down despite, the skinny frame. He still packs a punch a little bit here, I think, and started the season, as I alluded to, with 2 top 5s at Daytona and Atlanta, but kind of from a performance standpoint really went downhill from there, Elliot. 23.5 average finish. I just don't think that's good enough in Jordan Anderson Racing equipment. It's not great equipment, but they're pushing for a playoff spot more times than not. He is just 21 though, so can only now pick up a can of Busch Light, can only now develop in his frame a little bit more. And maybe this is a good spot for him, man. Like Brendan Poole, his teammate, is a pro, 15th in the points last season. So I like the upside here for Parker Retzlaff. Hope he can get it done this season.
Yeah, certainly a decent spot to cut your teeth. Like you said, probably not at the same level as Jordan Anderson Racing has kind of gone up into, but certainly respectable enough equipment, at least for the Xfinity Series. Tommy Joe Martin's doing some good stuff over there with Alpha Prime.
Agreed.
Another ride, Latrobe, Pennsylvania native. I don't know why. Garrett Smithley is going to be in the SS Greenlight number 14 next year. Smithley, one of those guys that's been around for a while. Spent a lot of time in the Cup Series with Rick Ware, some time in those JD Motorsports cars, getting a full-time ride. I think he's been a guy who's bounced around a lot. Getting a full-time ride with the same team, same equipment, probably going to be good for him as well.
Yeah, Western PA native, as you said, drank from the rivers of the Gainey before moving south to further his racing career. He was in Bandoleros, and then he actually moved to Legends because he got backing from Peachtree City Golf Carts at one point, Elliot. And he went there after his golf cart was stolen. He had to buy a new one. They sponsored him. There's a little bit of theft protection in there as well for them. So that's kind of a cool story about how he really got his start. And been around the scene driving shit boxes for a while now, right? Both in Cup and Xfinity since 2015. He was racing with Starcom for a while, BJ McLeod Racing before it was Live Fast, Spire, Rick Ware Racing before they were anything what they are today. 5 top 10s and 180 Xfinity races. 4 of those been on super speedways, 1 on Iowa as well. So I'm rooting for you, Garrett Smithley. Bring it home for PA here. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, man. Love seeing those grinders around in the lower series. Greg Van Alst is another one of those guys as well. He'll race the majority of the races for the Joey Gase Racing number 35 next year. Again, a car that we've seen kind of mid-tier to back-tier of the Xfinity field, but a guy like Greg Van Alst, mid-40s, not like these young kids. He's been around the block a time or two, but it's always good to see those guys. The part of the charm of the Xfinity and the Truck Series is you got the young prospects, you got the lifers, but you also got the old school guys who are really getting their big break.
Yeah, GVA, man, he's kind of a proven to the theory that money talks a little bit, right? Like I was kind of surprised to see that's who ended up for Joey Gase Racing in this 44 car. But he does have 7 career Xfinity runs, average finish of 32.7, career best of 26. Did run a lot of starting parks as well, though. So, yeah, we don't really know what to expect from Greg Van Alst, but probably I don't expect to have him on a betting card this season.
Now that'd be a surprise. I mean, maybe on the super speedways, but yeah, even then. But
You're getting loose if you're playing GVA out there.
Yeah, good point.
Maybe DFS. There might be a time when you're going to need some GVA for some DFS. Yeah.
You never know. Certainly could be worse. This is a deal that didn't happen, but something that was in the news. Connor Daly, an IndyCar driver who's run a little bit of NASCAR Xfinity in the trucks, he apparently had a deal to run the Sam Hunt number 26 full-time next year. Fell through. I don't know if it was the sponsorship fell through or something happened. He has since announced he'll be full-time in IndyCar with Juncos Hollinger Racing in one of those cars. But we've talked about Sam Hunt, the potential that this team has had. And a guy like Connor Daly, a guy who, again, he's an open-wheel guy. Stock cars take some adjustment. But this would have been a really intriguing move here for Sam Hunt. For now, the plan still, I guess, is to be an all-star car.
I just don't get it, man. Like, it's really disappointing to see. Connor Daly's at least a name in motorsports, right? I believe he has a little bit of a podcast going on as well. So this is someone who fans recognize. Dual threat guy, can obviously go from open wheel to stock car, which is great to see. And would have loved to see Connor Daly get some more reps here full time for Sam Hunt. I think he could have been a top 20 driver, I think, once he got his legs under him. So bummer to see that. And we'll see what happens in this Sam Hunt car. But this is one that, like, outside of some runs from Corey Heim, I was kind of disappointed with some of the efforts when we'd see Ryan Truex jump in this car. I know at one point we also saw Tyler Reddick jump in this car and it wasn't really competitive in it. So, hey, maybe Ryan Truex is the guy, right? Ryan Truex still out there. Maybe him and Martin Truex and Denny and some of the boys can come together. I know Denny's on a high right now. So if I'm trying to get Denny involved in a deal right now, if I'm Marty and Ryan, now's the time.
Yeah, we'll be talking about the Cup Series stuff in our show next week that'll come out early for holiday travel, so watch out for that. And a guy like Daly, I mean, I don't think this precludes him from running a couple of Xfinity races, but I do know he's a guy who's been like part-time NASCAR, part-time IndyCar, getting the Indy 500 ride, doing whatever he can. I think most of his focus will probably be on that IndyCar ride, but you never know. I don't think he's a guy that will fully step away from stock cars. We could see him in something else. I don't know how long the deal is over at IndyCar, so.
Yeah, I appreciate Connor Daly. We had a long shot bet on him in the Indy 500 last year for just to lead a lap. So that was really fun. So I'll be a fan of his for sure. We got TK in the chat. What's up, TK? Good to see you, man. Saying Chandler Smith, maybe. Book scene convinced he has a ride. Yeah, we'll talk about that because we've been discussing that kind of in the background for a couple of days here, TK. So 100% on that. We also got Marcus hanging out with us as well. He's talking a little Chili Bowl action. Elliot, we are on the lookout for Chili Bowl odds. Might have a Chili Bowl episode here before we get going in the NASCAR regular season. But while we do have TK and Marcus here, I did want to shout out the IBT family as well. Thank you guys for supporting us throughout the offseason. A reminder that we are going to do our giveaway at the end as well. And if you guys aren't entered in that yet, we only have a few entries. You got about a 1 in 6 shot if you jump in there now. We have a survey that is linked down in the episode description. Go fill that out. It'll take you like 5 minutes while you're watching the show. Let us know what's good about this show, what's bad about it. But I wanted to shout out TK there, and he's smelling it out there too with Chandy.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of struggling to find a landing spot for him. That may be the most obvious one that we overlooked.
Yeah,
just on that 26. But we'll see. No announcements there yet. A team that was announced, Viking Motorsports, which ran last year as sort of an RSS Ryan Sieg clone or like sister team or whatever. They're moving over to Chevrolet because I think there was the owner commented on Facebook and said that Ford or Toyota, they would have required a ridiculous amount of money to be an affiliate and not get any of the data. Chevrolet was kind of their only option. They're going to switch to number 99 and they will keep Matt DiBenedetto, who they have a lot of faith in. I know that the Matty D kind of has a cult following. I don't know what the upside of this car is, but it is nice to at least see them go independent so that they can rise or fall on their own and not have to rely on being a sister team, basically.
Yeah, a couple notes from this is like one, Matty D. I think this could pay off for this team where we might be throwing out some Matty D matchups this year. I could see potentially if they're going to improve, if they're going to get more information. I know they're a young team, so they really need to have a more full notebook going into different races. So I like this move from a gambling perspective, Elliot, and I also like this move just for a little fuck you to Ford, like in the Xfinity Series. Like, get your shit together. Like, come on here. Like, we got a couple teams right now that are running out Fords, but I feel like the list is shrinking and shrinking. Their prospect pipeline shrinking a little bit too. So I don't like it from that standpoint, but like maybe this is the spark that, hey, like let's get together here, Ford. Like you like it's not a privilege to be with these teams. It's not a right. Like you got to earn it.
Yeah, and say what you will about Matt DiBenedetto, but it certainly is nice to see a team wanting to build around him. A guy that clearly has a lot of potential, has led laps in the Cup Series and come close to a couple Cup wins. Good to see his career still going because there's still clearly some talent behind the wheel with him.
He's better than a lot of people floating out here. You know what I mean? He's better than a lot of people. Had some seasons in Cup where he was a borderline playoff driver, won a Truck Series race as well in some decent equipment. So, yeah, Matty D, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can continue to do down here in the lower series.
Yeah, you bring up the Truck Series. Our last news note here, a couple other mid-pack full-time rides announced. Jack Wood will return to the number 91 for McAnally, and Christian Rose, who's been an ARCA the last couple of years, heavy backing from the West Virginia Department of Tourism, I know. He'll be driving the 44 truck for Nice, a truck that obviously has seen better days in the past, but we'll see if a guy like Rose can keep up the success that he had in ARCA.
I like the story of Rose, right? I love the backing, West Virginia, that's not far from you down there in Pittsburgh, Elliot. So really like the story. I hope this kid can continue to grind. My affection for Al Neese and company down there. So gonna be rooting for him. I don't know if it really has any gambling significance yet. We'll have to see how he fares early in the season. Same with Jack Wood. Like you're in some pretty good equipment, bud. Let's start seeing it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. McAnally's really become one of the top truck teams. And even if Christian Rose and the 44 don't have a lot of success, we do know if the West Virginia sponsorship stays with them, there'll be some real nice paint schemes on those trucks because some of those cars looked absolutely gorgeous. So that'll be at least nice to see a fun-looking truck on the track, even if it's getting lapped by Corey Heim every week.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens out there. I got some faith in our boy Rose.
Yeah, I'm optimistic for both of these guys. It'll be fun to watch in the truck, but it'll be really fun to watch Xfinity next year. We're going to start to break down those odds, starting with the championship odds in tonight's Parking Garage Props. So here we've got the odds board of the top 16. So of course, the playoffs only 12 drivers, so we went even a couple more outside of that. The title odds, Justin Allgaier is your favorite to repeat. He's a plus 350. We'll go through the first row here, the favorites. Austin Hill is at 6-1, going back to the number 21. And the new Haas factory team duo, Sheldon Creed, in the 00 this year and Sam Mayer in the 41.
Mm-hmm.
They are both at 7-1. I think maybe they're reaching a little bit on Haas just because we don't know, especially at the Xfinity level, what they're going to be. But I feel like Allgaier, after him finally getting it done last year, and Hill, after seeing some life from him on more than just the super speedways, I'm totally fine with them being the two favorites.
Yeah, I totally am. Like, if you would have asked me handicap this, I think this is probably right where I'd have them. Not a lot of value though, right? Like nothing. You can't bet Allgaier at
No.
plus 350, 6-1 for Hills, even a bit short. And same with these Haas factory team boys. Like, I like Sam Mayer, I think, more than most people, to be honest with you. And I think I like this team more than most people, but still, like, 7-1's being a bit optimistic. Like this is a new organization. Sheldon Creed's never won a damn race. You expect me to think he can win a title like Daniel Hemrick, so yeah, like not a lot of value. I get that these are probably four of the most consistent drivers left in the Xfinity Series with the least amount of question marks, but still a lot of question marks, I think, on all these teams other than Little Gator up there.
Yeah, and I mean, if it was the same Stewart-Haas program coming back for these two drivers, I would be more optimistic. But the fact that it is now almost downgraded, so to speak, to Haas factory team, keeping the two Xfinity cars, but just changing drivers for both of the teams too. It takes time for these teams and these drivers to gel. So, I mean, obviously all it takes is a winner racer. These two are obviously going to be playoff cars unless absolute disaster strikes. It's more so get there and then see what can happen. But definitely a little interesting, especially with some of these guys behind him. Chandler Smith is at 8-1. He's not announced for a ride yet, but that just shows how consistent he was, that he's at 8-1, along with Connor Zilisch, the newcomer in the 88. Sammy Smith, those paint schemes with the old-fashioned number 8, they look gorgeous. He's at 10-1. I don't think it's going to help him go any faster, but if it does, tilted forward, old school number 8, it's going to bring some finesse onto the track. Taylor Gray in the number 54 is at 12-1. A little optimistic on him. We know the Gibbs cars are good, but for a guy who hasn't been full-time in Xfinity, 12-1 compared to some of these other guys on the board feels a little low. And the only bettable number here might be Zilisch, but I think we are probably higher on Zilisch certainly than the books are.
Yeah, 100%. Like, more just, no value, non-positive EV here on the board for the odds. Sammy Smith, I like Sammy Smith. I think you and I have both found ways to bet him in the past that we enjoy him. Love having the number 8 back on that car. It's so sick. But realistically, like, this was a guy, he won to advance in the playoffs. He probably shouldn't have gone as far as he did, but he can win a race. He's good for like one race win a year, especially in his number 8 car. So dangerous to win in advance, but not worth a 10-1. Taylor Gray, same deal. A lot to prove for both Smith and Gray. Gray had his moments, and I think he'll find his way in the playoffs just because he's a consistent driver, right? But missed out on his first Truck Series win when Christian Eckes dumped him at the Ville in the fall. So that was a bummer to see, but not a big winner, right? Like, I think he could get a win this year, absolutely, but not something I'm betting on. And Chandler 8-1. You can't even handicap that at this point. And Connor Zilisch, we'll talk more about him later in the win total segment, Elliot, but I think Connor Zilisch 8-1 out of everyone I've seen so far. That's the guy I'm most interested. I'll talk about him a little bit later, but he's the next one, man.
Yeah, that's certainly a more playable number, at least for a guy like Sammy Smith and even Taylor Gray, even though he's coming into his first Xfinity year compared to Sammy Smith's third. We made this point probably when we were doing our season wrap-ups, is that these drivers are coming in younger than ever. Sammy Smith is still only like 21, 22, 23 years old. He's young enough to where his development is maybe even just starting. Normally we see drivers hit their primes when they get late 20s, early 30s. So for a guy like Sammy Smith, it could be a season where maybe he's just been good enough to win when he was young, and then will only continue to get better. But like you said, we got to see him prove it. And I think at 10-1 before we've seen him prove it, probably not a bettable number.
Yeah, 100%. Anything else you kind of liked in this second tier, or you want to go ahead and move forward to a little bit longer of shots?
Yeah, I mean, we'll wax poetic about Zilisch later. Taylor Gray, again, an Xfinity rookie, a guy, like you said, could he win a race? Sure. Is he going to win the title? Probably not. And Chandler Smith, even if he was back in a Gibbs car, which it doesn't look like he will be, 8-1 is still not a number I'd like to bet. Some of these guys over into the third row here. Nick Sanchez in the big machine, number 48. We saw them take a bit of a step up. Kligerman come in this close to win a race. He's at 12-1. That's way too low of a number for me. Jesse Love, though, at 15-1, definitely more intriguing. Then you start to get to some longer shots. Carson Kvapil in the JRM number 1 is at 25-1. and William Sawalich, who I'm pretty sure will be in the 18. I thought I had the Gibbs numbers figured out, but then there might be some changes as we'll talk about. But Sawalich is represented by the 18 there. He's at 30-1. Some Xfinity rookies here, and a guy like Jesse Love, who did win a race last year, but wasn't really close to a title.
Yeah, I don't hate Carson Kvapil, honestly. Like, I think that's a 25-1. That's an okay number. That's a kid I think that could win at a short track. But honestly, the only one that I'm considering betting on this board right now across everything, it really is Jesse Love staring me at that 15-1. I know he's not the hot new thing anymore, right? But he's still arguably the second most talented driver in this lot. 18 top 10s last season, the 7th most in the series, 7 top 5s, that's the 10th most, 341 laps led, that's the 5th most, 1 win, 6 among full-timers in average starting position, and also 6 among average among those full-time drivers in average finish as well. He's a Sunday racer for sure. That was all in his rookie year, Elliot. Like, he's going to get better having a year in this car, a year with this team. He already made it to the round of 8 last season as well. And I think he's going to set up even better for the round of 8 this season, which starts out at Las Vegas. He was 6th there in the fall. At Talladega, then he won Talladega, and he also was 6th in the other Talladega race, started on the front row, both of those ones. So he could he's going to Talladega. Him and Austin Hill are the favorites, right? Like, you can lock that in right now. So he could punch his ticket in there, or Martinsville, where he got 12th. So if he can get to Phoenix, he finished 2nd there last spring, his first ever trip to Phoenix, finished 6th there in the fall. I'm probably going to wait to see if DraftKings or 365 puts out their odds. I want to see if I can maybe get a better number, but if not, 15-1, I'll take it where I can get it. And I would love like a 1.5 win total as well.
Yeah. And keep in mind that all happened in a year that was considered a down year for RCR, to the point where they, in the first third of the season, made major changes.
So we lost our boy. We lost our boy that season.
Yeah, Andy Petrie, right? You said that. I was like, wait a minute, am I buffering? Am I freezing up? No, I'm still good. Andy Petrie is not still at RCR, but definitely could be a rebound season for Love. Not even a rebound, but a rebound season for RCR, which would lead to more success for the 21 and the 2.
Yeah. What else you like in here? Like HB, we got Harrison Burton 35-1.
Yeah.
This is something I'm going to look at, I think, more over the next couple of weeks. And I really need to look back at Harrison Burton's Xfinity record, because it wasn't mind-blowing by any means, but he was damn consistent running in, JGR equipment, though. So how do you think that translates? Because 35-1 for a guy who we know can run really well in this series is intriguing. And right behind him, Christian Eckes, 35-1. What are you thinking?
Yeah, this last row here, the 19 is supposed to be Brandon Jones. Then I saw something just before the show that maybe he'll be in the 20. Either way, I don't think it matters what number he runs. I think even 30-1, a little optimistic for him. Harrison Burton, like you said, at 35-1, along with Christian Eckes and Ryan Sieg also at 35-1. Sieg is a guy who I think will finally get through and get a win and get to the playoffs. But in terms of winning a title, that's a whole different ballgame there that I just don't think RSS is up for. But I think next year they're going to look for a successful season and getting a win. For Harrison Burton, the talent's there. We just don't know if the car is there. And I think it's almost the same thing for Christian Eckes. It was a down year for Kaulig. Like, they barely were able to scrape Allmendinger in the championship 4 on one good day in Vegas. It was not a good year for Allmendinger in this 16 last year. And it really is going to take a big effort for Eckes to rebound. These are, again, Eckes real good in the trucks. Harrison Burton real good in JGR equipment. It just depends on what the horsepower has behind him to see if they're going to be any good to even really contend for the playoffs. I feel like Eckes has the consistency. Harrison Burton, I feel like, is going to be on that playoff bubble.
Yeah, he'll probably be right around top 12, I would have to guess. But I think, do you think that, okay, here's my question. Obviously, we're throwing Jones and Sawalich out 30-1 for those guys, not interested. 35-1. If Harrison or Eckes gets in the playoffs, do you get a cash out, you think? Or do you think that I could see the books being more scared of Harrison Burton because he is a former Cup guy, a former Cup winner as well, has made some deep playoff runs in the series. So that's where I see a little bit of value on Harrison Burton. I don't know how long he's going to stick to 35-1. Obviously, it's going to depend how that car runs, but he's someone, like, realistically, he has the skill And I think that car can at least hold on. We saw Deegan run well to super speedway. So like Atlanta, Daytona early in the season, he could win one of those races very easily, I think.
I think so, but I think he's going to need to win one of those to really have a chance. Because I thought 35-1 was generous, just because we saw AM, the 15 car, look just bad last year at times.
But they were putting
embarrassing.
bullshit. They were putting bullshit drivers in. I mean, when Josh Berry ran it, it was not good either. But he at least
Yeah.
he had some decent runs, and like even like there were some other shit boxes out there. Like Noah Gragson was wheeling the top tens. Like I don't think Harrison Burton is nearly good as those guys, but I think he's 75%, 60% of those guys at least.
Yeah, I'm still not touching him at 35-1.
Okay. Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. No, I'll keep my HV agenda to myself.
Well, you can present the agenda. I'm just saying I'm not buying into it. That's all.
Let's get it. That's another guy. I want to see what a race win total. I think I would hit the over because I think I'd be the only one.
Yeah, definitely would be at half a win, and I'm slamming the under on it.
All right. Well,
we do have some other race win over unders that came out. Only a few drivers though, but all of them guys that are certainly worth discussing. The first guy here, Sam Mayer, in that 41 for Haas next year. And rereading this one, I'm pretty sure I typed it in right, but it just looks a bit like a more obvious bet here. His over unders at 2.5. The over's at -140. The under at +110. I think asking 3 wins out of him might be a little much next year. I'm really okay with the under at plus money.
yeah, I like that you're getting plus money on it. Like, I just don't know. Like Texas, you can throw Texas in there. You can throw Charlotte in there. He can win some of these road courses as well. But like, he's not going to be. How many tracks are we going to go to next year where Sam Mayer is going to be the favorite?
Probably none. Probably not.
That's kind of my thing. Maybe Texas. Yeah. Maybe Texas because he won Texas last year. Like that's the only thing. I could see him going for 2 wins, but 3 is asking for a lot considering what did he have? 3 wins last year in junior motorsports equipment, 4 the year before in junior motorsports equipment. So downgrade on the equipment a little bit, mix in a little uncertainty. Yeah, there's probably is a little bit of value on the under.
Yeah, that's what I would take for sure. And you question again the equipment. We know JRM probably a little better equipment than what we'll see from Haas factory team, at least at first. I feel like it's a lot to ask to get him to 3 wins next year, at least as I sit here tonight.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. Sam Mayer, no way I would touch that.
No, this next one though, this is our generational one. We've both already laid some fairly serious coin on this. Connor Zilisch in the 88, his over under is at 1.5 wins, which that's perfectly reasonable for any average driver that's new to the Xfinity Series that has a little bit of talent, is in a good car. Even a guy who's won though, let's say most rookies haven't won. They don't win their first start like Zilisch did. His over under being at 1.5, the over is only -135, the under at +105. I know, I'm not a guy who drinks juice all the time, but like I said, we both absolutely are slamming this over. I'll let you go first, but for the reasons why. But this is one of the most obvious bets since I've been betting NASCAR. Absolute must on the over here.
I mean, it's generational, right? Like this is where, okay, if you're betting this now, keep in mind you got to wait 11 months to cash it. So, but like, I mean, I'm honestly thinking like we've been seeing the stock market's been great, Elliot, and I'm thinking what should I be pulling out of the stock market right now and investing in this bet? Like I am dead serious on this. This is one of the best I've ever seen in my years of NASCAR handicapping. He is the next one. Connor Zilisch is the next one. He was racing overseas at the age of 10 for entire summers. He showed how good he was in his first ever truck qualifying at COTA, putting it on the pole before winning his first ever Xfinity Series race at the Glen last season. He is 16th in Xfinity top 5s last season with 3 of them. He was 16th with 3. That was in 4 races. That was in 4 fucking races, man. Like this could be a Ty Gibbs rookie year. That's what we could be looking at, where he's going for 4 or 5 wins. No dinger or SVG locked into these races. Zilisch will probably be the favorite depending on what HMS throws out there for their driver at COTA week 3, Mexico week 15, right? I mean, if there's no SVG or maybe no Larson in that race, I would say I want Zilisch, someone who's raced overseas in these type of tracks. For Mexico, the Glen where he already won, Portland week 25, the Roval to close out the round of 12, and he also was pretty damn good at the ovals last year too. P4 at Kansas and Phoenix. and he's in the best damn equipment in the series. Let's go, baby. I'm all in. I'm all in.
Yeah, I should have figured you would have had the stats up. That's what I was doing, was pulling up his stats, because he's a guy, 4 races, won the first one, 4th in 2 others, and then a 12th at Homestead. Maybe not his best day there, so maybe keep an eye out for that. But yeah, this is a guy who's going to be the favorite on all the road courses. Like you said, there's no SVG or Allmendinger. Sam Mayer, even a decent road course guy, not going to be favored over Zilisch. This is a kid who probably should be racing F1 right now, but grew up in Charlotte, didn't have the money to stick over in Europe, so now he's over here. Like you said, in some of the best equipment. You know, I've made the hot take before that he's talented enough. I don't think he ever races a race for Trackhouse. I think he gets the bump up to Chevy's top program in Hendrick. But a guy who I have compared him to is Chase Elliott. He didn't even have these bonus 4 Xfinity starts, nor a lot of the other road course racing experience, especially. But Chase made his Xfinity debut for a full year in 2014. Again, a guy, obviously we don't know what his odds would have been or were back then. But in that season, he won 3 times, which would cash the over on this bet. In 33 races, 16 top 5s, 26 top 10s, an average finish of 8.0, and he was the champion that year. And I think that's the type of year we're going to see out of Zilisch. I just think he probably wins 2 or 3 more races, maybe not as consistent with the top 10s, but definitely a guy we could see taking away the title at the end of the year. I probably would have taken the over even if it was a 3.5. That's how confident I am in JRM continuing to be the best cars, and Zilisch just being one of the more talented drivers that we've seen come into NASCAR in years. Like you said, he's the next superstar.
I was really happy to see 1.5. I didn't know what, I mean, this could have been anything. Like, this could have been a half. This could have been 3.5. I have no idea. I don't think I would have betted at 3.5, but I probably still would have dabbled with 2.5. I wouldn't have, I mean, I laid 6 units down on it, folks. Like, I just tied up 6 units on my bankroll for the next couple months. Like, that's kind of where we're rolling right now with it. So this is, like I said, I'm on the Jesse Love future that I'm considering getting down on right now. Maybe flirting with a little HB 35-1, but like everything else in the Xfinity Series, I'm just pounding this. So hopefully everyone else does as well.
Yeah, and I feel like it's one of those things where, because it's not on paper, he's only run the 4 Xfinity races, the books either can or are willing or are just too dumb to do what should be done here, which is realize that Zilisch is going to win at least 2 races next year without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. TK in the chat saying he would put Love 3rd. He will be held back some by RCR versus the other 2 being in JRM. Yeah, that's very true. When you're looking at Zilisch, when you're looking at guys like Gator, that they do have a little bit better of equipment. That is for sure. But Jesse Love's that talented of a guy. He can make up for it. We got Cody coming in from Facebook saying, get it started early. Hey, we've been here all off season, man. The NASCAR betting season never sleeps, Elliot.
No doubt about it. And the books are throwing out the odds for us, so we would be silly to not hop down on them real quick.
Yeah.
All right. The next guy we got here is Sheldon Creed. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. He's got 13, 14 second place finishes, something ridiculous like that. His over-under's at 1.5. The over's at plus 140, under at minus 170. I mean, it's a guy who hasn't won yet. It's a guy who's been in RCR equipment, which won a race last year. Been in JGR equipment, which has won a fuck ton no matter who you put in that car. Sheldon Creed still has been unable to get it done. At the way these odds are set up, though, there's always that breakthrough that you see with talented guys like him. He's a former truck champion, won races down there. This is less of a Daniel Hemrick, where I don't think he just didn't have the talent. I think this is more shit just hasn't broken his way, and he's just waiting for the floodgates to open. At plus 140, I'm definitely considering the over here.
Wow.
I'm considering it. I didn't say I'm considering it.
Yeah. I don't think I can touch this one, because I could see him getting 2 wins based on what the field is now, how experienced he is compared to some of the other drivers. I could absolutely, there could be a world where Sheldon Creed gets 2 wins. Like, you can only finish second so many times before you get an Austin Cindric win. Someone runs out of gas. Something will break. If this was half a win, I think I would take the over. But at 1.5, I think it's a great line by the books. If you want to fade Sheldon Creed into oblivion, you're paying the juice. And if you want to have faith in him, you're getting plus 140. So I don't blame the play if you do go the over. But like you said, we said earlier, a lot of question marks with that Haas factory team heading into the season. So I'm hands off on this one.
That's totally understandable. Like you said, one of those where the line is not nearly as obvious as it was for
Yeah.
Zilisch, or maybe even a Mayer feels relatively obvious too at 2.5. More tempted to take the under for sure.
We got some Zilisch love in the chat from our guy Dubs World Challenge of Racing. Thanks for tuning in tonight, man. Hope you're having a great one. Saying Zilisch is badass. Watched him in Miatas, Trans Ams, and IMSA. Won in everything. Yeah, I mean, that's him, dude. Like, that's
I mean, it's just so rare to see guys like this so young with this much experience. It's almost it feels like it's almost the first time that this is happening. Like I'm not only to the point from what we've seen with Zilisch, not just in the stock cars, the fact that he's adapted well to NASCAR, and I'm sure will continue to over a full year, as we both have a lot of faith in. Like I said, he's not only a guy that's going to win an Xfinity, not only a guy that I'm saying is going to bump up to Chevy's top team. He might even rival, depending on how the playoff system shakes out, might even rival the 7 titles that we've seen from Earnhardt, Petty, and Johnson. You might see Zilisch as the next name. I still see him multi-time champion in Cup, even if he doesn't get that far. But again, you never know with the playoffs. But the talent sure as shit is there, and the equipment will be too. Even if he does end up in Trackhouse and my hot take doesn't come true, they're good enough to get him to victory lane too.
How pissed does Sheldon Creed have to be when he sees Connor Zilisch come in his first race and win, when he's been trying to tie it back into Creed and kind of the bad luck he's had? But Dubs, appreciate you watching, man. Just a reminder, if you're tuning in for the first time, we got a survey in the episode description. You can enter a giveaway or giving out a bunch of diecasts at the end of the show. So want to make sure you're invested with that. Elliot, let's go ahead. I think we got 2 more season win totals to talk out here.
Yep, 2 more, and they're the two title favorites that we saw there, title favorites, championship favorites, whatever. Justin Allgaier is the first. His over-under at 2.5. The over is -175, and the under is a +135. We know that Allgaier is a guy, obviously championship contender, race winner, championship winner. It just always feels like Allgaier has shit go wrong 3 times during a season where he's leading the race, something happens, ends up losing it in the craziest fashion. But at 2.5, especially, he's got the title monkey off his back. JRM's in a good place. He's in a good place. I feel like I'm drinking the stiff juice and probably would take the over rather than the under.
Yeah. This is another one. Obviously hands off because I'm not going to drink a 175 over for the season. But I could see it. But it's like you said, like pianos fall out of the sky on this guy. And even last year, I mean, you look back at the races Allgaier had, he could have had 7 or 8 wins. To honestly, there was a point where I think it was 5 races in a row he swept the stages. This guy was on a fucking rocket. And I would say, while the competition has beefed up a little bit, adding guys like Zilisch, give Love another year, I think you still have taken some of the heavy hitters like Custer away who move up to Cup. So very, 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 very attractive number, I think, for Justin Allgaier would be 2.5, but I'm not paying 175 for the over. So I'll sit this one out here, I think, and just chill out. But I could see someone make the argument either way. I mean, he did only have 2 wins last year, Elliot.
That is true. And it is a lot to spend, but I just think he's a guy that is not going to lose a step. I think he's still got a couple good years left in him. We saw Elliott Sadler, I think, in the early mid 40s in terms of age.
Oh, yeah.
Go out there and nearly win titles in JRM equipment. Yeah, drivers tend to get better after finally getting the title.
Yeah, true. True. Yeah, absolutely. I think we got one more here.
Yep, last number. And this one's only because there's 6 super speedways on the schedule. Austin Hill is at 3.5. The over's at -135. The under at +105. He won 4 times last year, I think, 3 super speedways, and then Homestead to make the championship 4. It's less of a stiff glass of juice. You need that extra win there. But this man is so damn good on the super speedways, I'm almost tempted to take the over. Just because we always say most of the time, and for most of the drivers, super speedways are just luck. But there are those hallowed few, the Earnhardts, your Keselowskis, your guys like that, and now your Austin Hills, who clearly have an advantage here.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I just think your luck's got to run out at some point, right? Like your luck has to run out at some of these super speedways. And where else can he win?
That is the other argument, but I think the Homestead win, you said a place like Vegas.
Yeah.
He showed some life on the road course. Remember at Coda, kind of shoving SVG out of the way. I think there's enough here where if he can get lucky and take home 2 of the super speedway races, he could pull out 2 wins elsewhere.
Yeah, 3.5 is just too big of a number. I think there's too much better talent with these young bucks that he's going to have to pull 3 wins at the super speedways, which I don't like your chances just from a kid who's watched super speedway racing my entire life. I just don't see that going very well, but you never know, man. Like as you said, like, DJD, he knew how to get it done there. So I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely those last 3 for sure ones you really have to think about, but
Yeah.
they're definitely tempting either way, at least for me.
Yeah, TK saying in the chat, Jesse Love may be able to hold him off better this year, coming back to those tracks. Yeah, I agree too. I think Jesse Love, like that RCR equipment, is just the nuts equipment at super speedways for every reason. And give Love another year. I think maybe Love pulls out 2 wins. That's the total we need, Elliot. That's the total we need. That's what we're keeping our head on the swivel for the next couple months. Jesse Love season win total. Make sure you guys are going over there and betting the Zilisch one now if you agree with us. And then Jesse Love here in a couple weeks. I'm ready for it. I'll be on the lookout.
So let's say Love's 1.5. You're taking the over?
Yes. Well, it depends on what the odds are. What the odds are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I get plus money, I'd probably take it at plus money. Yeah, absolutely.
That's definitely fair.
I would drink some juice for it too, but I'm not, I'm not drinking anything past like.
Probably wouldn't if it were the same number as Hill, say 1.5 over minus 135 under plus 105. You drinking that much juice for it? You think?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, probably nothing past minus 140, because last year I drank minus 140 on his season win total of 1, and I that cashed pretty early. I felt pretty good about it, so I'll just reinvest those funds right back in. Let's go for 2.
Certainly wouldn't blame you there, and it will be nice to see some of these other sort of mid-tier guys in the title odds get some race win odds. You could theoretically bet an over a half a win for Quapple or Sawalich or Jones, maybe even Harrison Burton. Some guys who I'm sure will have their over-unders probably at half a win. Eckes, they might get a little cheeky and set it at 1.5 just because he's so good in trucks. But these guys definitely, if and when we get some race win over-unders, will certainly be worth discussing there too, because I mean, you could see 8, 9, 10 of these guys on the list getting a win.
Oh yeah, man. It's a great series. That's why we talk about it so much on the program. We enjoy it. Hope you guys enjoyed kind of our breakdown of both the win total markets, the championship markets as well. I'm sure we're gonna revisit these sometime closer, make our official picks down the stretch before we get into the season. It's a lot of theorizing right now, a lot of bouncing things right off the wall. We want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the chat below. Let us know in the comments after the show as well. What is your guys' favorite Xfinity Series title odds bet? I'm curious to hear from the pulse of the NASCAR betting community. I want to know what you guys are down on. Do you like any of the win totals we talked about? What do you guys think about Connor Zilisch? All that, let us know in the comments below. Elliot, what do you think, though? Do you think now's the time we get this show on the road?
I think so, and it'll be we're looking for those truck odds, too. We'll get that show on the road when we get there, too. But in terms of these show on the road, I'm presuming you're talking about drawing our little holiday postseason giveaway here. We've put it out there multiple times the last few weeks. We've got a few 164th, some mystery 124th, some trinkets, just a whole bunch of neat stuff. Got some Keselowski, some Logano. The box is just out of my reach here. You couldn't see it with me on the end part of the screen anyway. So you guys already know what's in the giveaway. Thank you guys so much for filling out the postseason survey. Let's find out where we're shipping this box out to and making somebody's, not Christmas, and won't get there in time, but make somebody's New Year's hopefully a little better.
Let's go, baby. Here we go. Let's go racing.
Boogity, boogity, boogity.
Oh, and it is. Oh,
it's going to be close. It's close. Kush got him. Congratulations, Kush.
Let's go. That was a close one right down the finish. Remind me of Atlanta. Elliot, reminded me a little bit of an Atlanta finish there.
That was a little Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch, 2003 Darlington. Just takes a little nose of the Pontiac and gets ahead. Congratulations, Kush. You can DM either the in-between account or either one of us to get your address out there, and we'll get this box out to you. Thanks for filling out the survey, everybody. We appreciate it. We want to make the program the best we can for you. So really thankful for your input.
Yeah, a lot of great things we're already working on hard heading into the 2025 season. So thank you all so much. Elliot, you and I will be back next week, early in the week. We're going to do a pre-recorded episode. We're going to talk some of our bold takes for 2025 for the Cup Series. We'll also touch on a little bit of news and some of those new win totals. We got some more driver win totals that we'll factor into those takes as well. So really looking forward to that episode, but a really fun one tonight, breaking down the Xfinity Series odds.
Yeah, it's going to get real saucy next year for sure with the Cup episode early next week and with some of these Xfinity odds. The next thing you should do is go bet that Connor Zilisch over. But we appreciate you rolling down the back road with us tonight. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time on the Backroad.